This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
There is a lot to process in 24 hours like I did. Okay, a lot of us Eagle fans are not in good spirits, really not in a good mood, because I think this is going deeper than just one position, two positions. This goes a lot deeper than we thought that it was going to go. We're talking about the defensive line today because the defensive line was the worst position. As much as we were hating the offense and how they were doing things, and maybe we'll talk about corner and safety, but at the end of the day, this defensive line had no pressure, and they are not going to get a pass from me from what happened this past Monday night. Absolutely pathetic, absolutely embarrassing, and I'm disgusted. That's where we're at, and this is where we're going to be. So that's what I want to talk about today.
A killer buried, but not dead.
Darren, we better turn around. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
If I'm the betting man, and I am, and you're rooting for the Philadelphia Eagles, this is the redemption year for Jalen Hurts. This is the year we get the bad taste out of our mouths from last season. If I'm going all in, ride or die with a Super Bowl and bringing that Lombardi trophy back to Philadelphia for a second time, you need to go to BetUS, and I'm not wasting any time with it. I'm putting $500 down as the risk and getting $7,000 back at the end of the year because this offense is going to be explosive. This defense by Vic Fangio is going to be dynamic. A 150% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000 with code YouTube150. Click the link in the description below. Start betting and start winning. I want to thank BetUS for sponsoring this video because there is a lot to talk about here. Okay, we're going to be starting off with obviously the number one thing that probably was the biggest mistake the Eagles made. Okay, after seeing trust me, we'll get to all the players. We're not going to stop right here. I'm going to rant and rave and do what I got to do. But Haason Reddick has seemed to be one of the worst moves the Eagles just did this past offseason, giving him away to the Jets for a 26th third-round conditional pick where he has to play 68% of the snaps for 10-plus sacks. The Eagles will get a second-round pick if he hits those accolades. Okay, you lost your closer. You might not have a consistent player game to game with Haason Reddick. We could talk about how he's not good against the run. We could talk about how he's not good in pass coverage because I think this scheme is probably the biggest problem to some of our guys on defense and what's really going on before we talk about the safeties and the corners. You had no pressure. Okay, when it's fourth down, a minute and a half left, and it's, game is on the line. Who did they depend on to make those plays last year? It was Haason Reddick, 100%. That man was just, you can always count on him to make those big plays, especially getting consistent pressure, which is the best thing possible. And we don't really know what Haason Reddick's number was, to be honest with you. Okay, 20 million, 25 million. It seemed like they signed Bryce Huff pretty fast, which we're going to get into next. Okay, but it's a lingering problem that's telling me that I don't know what the number is, what they want to pay him, but it's a huge. You literally got nothing for Reddick. You literally didn't replace him with anything. Okay, you went out and you signed Bryce Huff. Okay, Bryce Huff is hot garbage. Okay, it's week 2. He could turn around. Like I said, the scheme could be, and I think part of it is Vic Fangio's fault with Bryce Huff because he took him out of position. He took Quinyon Mitchell out of position, but, that's fine because he can play nickel and outside, which is great. But Bryce Huff, they took him out of position. Never was in pass coverage with the Jets. Heavy rotation. 10-sack season. Okay, he's got a great story because he was undrafted and he worked really hard to get to where he's at. But a very heavy rotation with the Jets last year. And it seemed like the Eagles got him very easily. Like they picked him up. There was no fight between other teams, like $17 million a year, $53 million the next few years. And they got him in very easily. And I was like, wow, it seems like the Eagles didn't really put up a fight for Bryce Huff. It seemed like he signed here. Okay, in 2 seconds. Then we go into camp, and Fangio is telling us that he doesn't think that he could potentially be a 3-down edge rusher. that he's not there yet. He's far from, being, he's got to earn more snaps. Like, seriously? All through training camp, this is who you pay. I just don't get it. I don't get this whole thing. Wasn't Fangio here when they were going through the process? Like, I don't even know if he was here by that time in free agency when they were going through the process of trying to get a new defensive coordinator or whatnot. I don't even remember the timing. I'm just so boggled down right now with just the way this defensive line has been playing the last 2 weeks. And statistically, it's been that bad with Bryce Huff. I mean, seriously, like one assisted tackle, and that was the one with Zach Bond on Kirk Cousins when they actually closed in. The ends closed in at the same time, and Kirk Cousins was able to go up for a couple yards, and that was pretty much it. I'm sorry I'm ranting and raving, but this is really annoying me. Okay, I think Bryce Huff is taking out of position. I think he's purely needs to edge rush a lot more, but his edge rush isn't great. And can he handle more snaps? It doesn't even look like it right now. So this signing looks horrible. It looks really bad. Not even a QB hit, not even a hurry, not even a tackle for a loss. Nothing. There's been nothing from Bryce Huff at all. It's absolutely embarrassing. Dude, we really haven't paid out a big, bad contract really for a while since maybe Malik Jackson or Alshon Jeffrey or, maybe, Carson Wentz, I guess you could say half of his career was a bad contract. Half of his contract was a bad contract, whatever. I don't know. But, Howie Roseman went out there and got him pretty fast, and it just hasn't worked out. And your defensive coordinator and Vic Fangio has not thought highly of him the whole entire offseason program. And frankly, I haven't heard much from the offseason program of all the great things that Bryce Huff has done. It's horrible. Horrible player. Horrible for this scheme. And that's why I think scheme is the big factor here. And I feel like Vic Fangio could, if this is a flop this year with this defense and they just can't get better, even going through their growing pains, I don't even know if you keep the same scheme in-house. I don't know if Fangio still has a job after this year. Your highest paid defensive, you have two players getting paid over $15 million in, obviously, Josh Sweat as well, $14 million fully guaranteed on a restructured deal, not going to be in Philadelphia next year. I don't want to see him re-signed. Has done nothing. Okay? On top of everything else, Jordan Davis, this is so embarrassing. It's really embarrassing. Jordan Davis, he's in great shape. And all I've been hearing all offseason, great shape. Oh, my God, it looks fast, looks quick, great shape. Oh, my God, he lost this much weight. He leaned up. And he's done nothing. He had one tackle, I think. Now, there were plays where Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter got double-teamed, and you had those one-on-ones with Bryce Huff, Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, whoever else was out there. Nobody can win their one-on-ones. And both of these guys were double-teamed. The Eagles were gashed by this run game the entire game. Never even shut it down. Okay? And that was the biggest problem the last 2 weeks. They played better against the run last week, where I thought in the first half they did well. The second half they started getting gashed just a little bit, but they held up okay. But this right here, this is an important year for Jordan Davis. This is his third year, Philadelphia. Number one, you're watching his weight. You're watching his motor to see if he can last in these games without having a heart attack like Grandpa Moses, okay? And it just seems like he's just not doing much of anything at all. I mean, Jalen Carter was benched the first series of this game because he didn't show up to a meeting on time. Why are guys not showing up to meetings on time? I saw Jalen Carter have that one pressure. Couldn't get to Kirk Cousins, though. Carter had a bunch of pressures last week. Like, he was getting into literally in Jordan Love's face last week. And then all of a sudden, week two, like, where was he at? What's going on? Now he's getting to meetings late. Is he starting to, tardy a little bit when it comes to showing up to things at the facility? I don't know what's going on, but he was god horrible. Your best defensive tackle, besides Milton Williams with the one sack, Shout out to Anthony DeBona. I'll credit him in the description below because I love his stuff. Thomas Booker, a second-year player, okay, that made the roster this year. He was our best defensive tackle with 3 tackles, okay? Just think about this. When he was on the field, offenses were averaging 1 yard per carry. When he was off the field, they allowed 146 rushing yards on 22 rushing attempts, 6.6 yards per carry. When Booker's on the field, it's 1 carry. When Booker's off the field, they were averaging 6.6 yards a carry. I'm scratching my head saying, no way Thomas Booker is better than the rest of these guys. So what's going on? What is the problem here? That's my main concern right now. The offense sure is a concern. Safeties, corners. We could talk about Chauncey's missed tackle. We could talk about all these dumb little things with the secondary. The secondary, I think, is good, besides Slay's last play in that against Drake London, which I thought was just horrible. Okay? I think the secondary plays fast. I think they play really. I thought they played pretty good. But when you have no pass rush all game, and your best player is literally your 5th option at DT, come on now. But let's be realistic here. What is the problem? Is it like it's got to be the scheme? Like, are all these players really that bad? Is Jordan Davis a bust? Is Nolan Smith, is he a bust? I mean, Nolan Smith, like God. I mean, I don't even know if I can watch anymore. People defend Nolan Smith all the time. And like, seriously, second game, he's done absolutely nothing. Nothing. Thomas Booker is the best DT we have so far. But Nolan Smith, another one, getting locked up, no pressure. I remember a running back went to chip him and he fell to the ground. I don't think Nolan Smith could play edge rusher. Even in training camp, what did we hear from Vic Fangio? He said, he's got to be more physical. His physicality as an edge rusher consistently is a problem. Yes, because look, I think part of it is the Eagles' fault because Sean Desai, didn't really use him at all his rookie year. That he ended up getting hurt. And then, going into this offseason, we're really excited, but I've seen nothing. 2 sacks in training camp and 2 sacks in preseason games that meant absolutely nothing. One was unblocked, and another one he got chipped and pretty much was forced into the lane and pretty much helped him get the sack. And everybody was yelling at me and carving me up because I was being too hard on him. And he looks horrible right now. You're not giving up on Nolan Smith, obviously, but I said before training camp, try to put him as an outside linebacker. I don't know. Do something else with him. Seriously. It's very frustrating. So, Jalix Hunt he came back from the oblique injury. Remember when Vic Fangio said, and I quote Vic Fangio because this is the shit that he said all offseason. Jalix Hunt surprised me. He's really been a big surprise, more than we realized, blah, blah, blah. And this was a hand-picked pick by Vic Fangio. He's not on the injury report. Why isn't Jalix Hunt playing? A big perimeter guy at his size. I think he's fantastic. Had a good offseason program. Where is he? Nowhere to be found. Special teams, like, that's it. He's not even in the rotation. Why isn't he playing? I just don't get it. I don't get it. Brandon Graham, what am I supposed to say? Honestly, he almost had the 1 sack. Probably would have got a penalty. That was on the Nakobe Dean penalty after the throw. But, hit Kirk Cousins in the helmet regardless. Okay, there was holding by Nakobe Dean in the secondary. Kirk Cousins pretty much got sacked on that play, but the flag was on Nakobe Dean, and not even that. But like I said, Graham would have had that penalty because he hit Kirk Cousins' face mask. I can't expect too much from Brandon Graham. Get some pressures here and there, but he didn't really do much either in this game. But how much as an older player in a rotation, guys in front of him on the rotation should be doing a lot more than what he's supposed to be doing. Okay? It comes down to Howie Roseman and the coaching hirings, the scheme, and what you've drafted the last few years. Now, guys, I have to be realistic. There is no way that Thomas Booker is our best DT, our best defensive lineman, period. Okay? Why is Bryce Huff not producing, playing out of position, and just not being consistent? Because he's out of position. The scheme, I think, with the off-ball coverage, it could be affecting this because these passes are coming out a lot more. I don't think they could generate it, but I don't think scheme is 100% the reason. Okay? But I think it's definitely part of it because I hate this scheme. It's a non-aggressive scheme that I can't stand. This defense flops, that's it. So it looks like Jordan Davis looks like it is going to be a bust if he doesn't do anything this year. Nolan Smith, to me, second year, you could probably give it another year with Nolan Smith. You're going to have to. So to call him a bust now, still hasn't shown a flash of nothing. No flash at all. Okay? Jalix Hunt's not playing. What am I expecting from Brandon Graham? And Josh Sweat, I'm freaking disappointed. I'm very disappointed in Josh Sweat. Jalen Carter not showing up to meetings, and he had one pressure. That's it. I think it's a compliment. I think it's a mix of scheme, coaching, and I don't know how the hell you don't win your one-on-ones, or at least win a little bit, even if they're fully all game getting blocked. If Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis are getting doubled, holes wide open, getting gashed, and everyone else is being affected by the pass coverage. And teams are going to run on this defense. The defensive line is going to be tired. They're not going to know what to do. It's going to be... I'm not going to say Howie Roseman drafted the wrong players, but man, there's some things in question. I think the number one thing they did, they paid Bryce Huff out of desperation, and he looks like shit right now. And Haason Reddick has become one of the biggest mistakes Howie Roseman has ever made, because this really pissed me off when it happened. And I said, you get rid of him, you draft Jalix Hunt that's done nothing, you have Nolan Smith in the building that has nothing, and look, if Nolan Smith had 4 to 6 sacks last year and he looked good and they got rid of Haason, I would have been more comfortable. But you have put in so much praise and so much uncertainty with this defensive line, it's totally in question. So that's all I'm really going to say. The worst position that played on Monday was the defensive line across the board except Thomas Booker. They all played bad regardless. No pressure. You're not doing nothing. And that's where we're at. It's a shame. It's like they completely ignored this defensive line going to the offseason. So I don't know if they're going to get Reddick back. It sounds stupid. People talk about it, so I just say, let me talk about it and see what people think, because that's what everybody talks about. I doubt it. I don't think you're trading for a player. You're not trading for nobody. You're not acquiring nobody. Okay? Acquiring somebody is not going to help. If your whole defensive line is not doing anything right now with the depth behind it, there's a bigger problem underneath. Bigger problem. The answer to this defensive line is not a trade. It's not a free agent signing in Yannick Ngakoue or whoever the hell is out there. I don't care about it anymore. If you can't get one player to look good, not one defensive lineman look good, that good, there's an underlying problem. And that's where I'm at. I'm going to go take a break. My head is killing me. I can't deal with this anymore today. It's been a really bad day today. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. I want to thank BetUS for sponsoring this video. Get a 150% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. Okay, code YouTube150. And you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Subscribe, like the video, helps out tremendously. Thank you for all the support on Monday night while we were going through this together. There's going to be a lot to talk about this week and another big test. We'll see how it goes. You guys enjoy it. Peace out.